Hi, my friends. So I'm Pastor Sarah from Bayshore Lutheran Church, and this is a special vlog for those of you who are following along with my Biblical Lit Challenge for 2022. I'm calling this Week 9 Plus because I'm going back to a previous week to say more about the woman we know as Rahab. I promised to do this in my week 10 vlog, and I will probably also make another special one for Deborah. But this week, let's talk about Rahab. Let's talk about her in this special vlog. First of all, you will find Rahab's story beginning in Joshua chapter 2. And if you flip to the genealogy of Jesus in Matthew, the Gospel of Matthew, you're going to see some women's names in that genealogy, which is pretty rare. We've already covered Tamar. I've already explained to you why Tamar is in that genealogy and why she's so special. Well, Rahab is in the genealogy of Jesus, and she is very special indeed. So go to Joshua 2 with me, and you will see the story about how Joshua sent 2 spies into Jericho. Now, this is an interesting story. I'm not going to read it from the Bible. I encourage you to do so. There's a little bit of repetition, but by all means, if you've not read it, do read Joshua chapter 2. And you will see immediately that Rahab is given the label of prostitute. Now, unlike Mary Magdalene, who was called a prostitute, which is not in the Bible anywhere. It was actually something that a bishop said a long time ago, and it just hung on her as, reputations and rumors and gossip does. Rahab is labeled a prostitute. So who is Rahab? Well, she is a woman in Jericho who knows that Joshua's coming. She knows that Joshua's coming, and she knows that God is on Joshua's side. So she greets the 2 spies who are coming into Jericho to scout it out. Now, I do want to say that they went to a prostitute's house. And what's a better place to hide? So they went there, and she sheltered them. She hid them from the king's men. She told the king's men, oh no, they've left, when in fact they were on her roof. She basically begged them that because she saved them, when the time for the raid would come, would they save her? And so a deal is met. She lets them out by a rope that she puts outside of her window, which takes them outside of the wall. And the 2 men say, yes, if you do all that you have said, which is keep us silent and keep us secret from the king's men, we will go back to Joshua. We'll tell him what you did. And when it's time for Joshua and our people to come and take the city of Jericho, tie this cord, this crimson cord, outside of your house, and we will not bother you. We will pass over. Now, that's an interesting image, isn't it? We will pass over your house. So Rahab does this. They told her to make sure that her whole family is in her house, those that she wants to be saved, and they told her just to keep silent and to wait. Now, in case you think this happens right away, it doesn't. It doesn't happen right away. In fact, you have to go now to chapter 6 to when Joshua begins to take Jericho to see the story of Rahab again. Joshua was told what happened, and Joshua agreed with the 2 spies. Yes, we will save Rahab the prostitute and her family as long as they're inside the house and they do not fight us during the time of our takeover. So come Joshua chapter 6, verse 22. You can read more about the fall of Jericho if you'd like. But come verse 22, it says that Joshua said to the 2 men who had spied out the land, go into the prostitute's house and bring the woman out of it and all who belong to her, as you swore to her. So the young men who had been spies went in and brought Rahab out, along with her father, her mother, her brothers, and all who belonged to her. They brought all her kindred out and set them outside the camp of Israel. They burned down the city and everything in it, only the silver and gold, the vessels of bronze and iron, they put in the treasury of the house of the Lord. But Rahab the prostitute, with her family and all who belonged to her, Joshua spared. Rahab's family has lived in Israel ever since, for she hid the messengers when Joshua sent out to spy Jericho. Now, what happens here? Rahab does say in chapter 2 a very interesting verse. She says in verse 11, "The Lord your God is indeed God in heaven above and on earth below." So she is not a born believer of Israel. She's not of the 12 tribes, but she tells the two spies that, yes, I acknowledge that your God is God of heaven and earth. And she recognizes that Joshua is got God's blessings to take over the land. Rahab wants her family to be part of this new people. She wants her family to be spared. She wants her brothers and parents, and she wants all of her kindred to receive the blessings of Joshua and therefore God. So she does what she has to do. Is she a prostitute? Yes, she was. But what's missing, and it's really sad, what's missing in this story is the fact what happens next, off print, if you will. Because somehow, some way, Rahab loses the moniker of prostitute, and she's given the blessings of marriage to an Israelite. And his name is Salmon. And she and Salmon marry, and they have at least one child. And the child that we know about is their son called Boaz. Now, this may ring a few bells for you because Boaz is the Zadok, the very righteous man, who sees Ruth not as an outsider, not as a Moabite, less than a dog, that was the expression, but no, he sees her as a woman. And I think Boaz is able to look at Ruth and see her as a woman and see her as a child of God, even outside of Israel's, even outside of the whole Israelite and the tribes and everything. Boaz is able to look at Ruth and see her heart, see who she really is inside. And I think Salmon did that too. I think Salmon saw the woman inside of Rahab, her heart, and he married her. And together, their son, Boaz, continued this understanding that people, who they are inside, matters. I find it extremely, extremely comforting that in the genealogy of Jesus, we have Rahab. We have her story in the book of Joshua. We know her past, and we actually know her future. And we know that she loved her family more than anything. And she also trusted God to protect her family when things were going to get pretty rough. So that's the story of Rahab, my friends. And I hope you enjoyed this. I hope it gives you a little bit more insight of Jesus and his background. And also, as we continue our reading in the Bible, we'll hit a few of those other women that the genealogy of Jesus highlights as well. Blessings and peace to you, and I will see you again in my next vlog.